Listen to movement. All right, so I was kind of a cantankerous teenager, or preteen, tween, I guess is the term that people use now. And so, but I was also kind of smart. I was kind of smart. And what I realized was that as much as my parents would threaten me or try to spank me, ultimately I would do what I want to do. They couldn't really force me to do it. They could strongly encourage me, but they couldn't force me to do it. And so I recall there were a couple of times that when I figured some of this stuff out, I was actually kind of dangerous to myself. But these were some of the things that I figured out. So I recall once that my parents asked me to take out the trash. I think my dad asked me to take out the trash, and so I got lippy. I said, why do I always have to take out the trash? Why is it me? How come, Damien or Will or Crystal, how come they can't take out the trash? Why is it always got to be me? And poor me, and blah, 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 blah. And so I hooked them in. I suckered them in. And so what do you think my parents said? Because my parents are pretty traditional. My grandparents are pretty traditional. Kids don't talk back to their parents and that kind of stuff. So I said, well, why do I always have to take out the trash? And so what do you think my father did? My father said, boy, you take out the trash because I said so. What is wrong with you? How can you talk back to me after all the stuff that I've done to you? I put a roof over your head, blah, 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 blah. As a matter of fact, go to your room. So I went to my room. What happened? I won. How did I win? I didn't have to take out the trash. Listen to movement. So that went on for a couple of times, and then all of a sudden my parents got hip and they just blew my game. And I think it was my mother actually that got hit first, and because this was happening for a whole lot of other things. So if I got on punishment, that meant I didn't have to do what they were asking me to do, which meant that my brothers and sisters would have to pull my weight because I'm on punishment. So I think my mom figured it out first, and so she asked me to do something, and I got lippy, and she said, "Boy, if you don't go do what I ask you to do." Now I have to tell you, for the first 10 years of my life, I thought my name was Boy because my parents were always on me, and so she would say, "I'm not playing with you. Get that done." And so I would continue to try to engage her, all the while knowing she's not playing, because her and my dad finally got on one accord. So he's going to support whatever she says. And she says, "Boy, if you don't get over there and get that thing done," and I'm like, "Mom, blah, 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 blah." And she stopped listening to what I'm saying, and she started watching what I was doing. She was listening to my movement. All too often, sometimes we get caught up in the storms and in the dust that people try to kick up so that they take their attention off of the core issue. My mother figured out that I could run my mouth and distract them and her to focus on something else, so I didn't have to do what they asked me to do. But when they figured that out, I had no new plan, no new escape, and I actually felt kind of bad because they had actually outsmarted me at my own game. I think of gorillas. I was watching the Animal Planet the other day, and they were talking about gorillas, mountain gorillas, and they had this huge silverback, and he's like 700 pounds. This is like just a massive silverback gorilla, and he's walking his territories, and he sees another silverback from another territory, and he's coming in on his territory. And so I do have to say, there are no EMTs or hospitals in the forest. Okay, so this 500-pound silverback gorilla sees this other, or 700-pound gorilla sees this other gorilla, and so what he starts to do is he grabs grass and he throws it in the air, and he shows his teeth, and he beats on his chest, and he's making all this crazy, just scary stuff, So he's doing all this stuff being this gorilla. And so I ask you this question. Why is he doing that? He's doing that because he does not want to fight. He's throwing up this dust and all of this stuff because he does not want to engage in a battle with another 500 or 700 pound gorilla. Why? Because someone will get hurt. And in that particular case, if someone gets hurt, what becomes their new destiny? Death. So a lot of times people are kicking up dust, and I often hear it when people say, well, they're being racist, or they're being sexist, or they didn't treat me fair because of some external reason or other things. When in fact the real issue or the real problem is they don't want to own up to their responsibility in that particular situation. Listen to movement. Don't be moved by tears. Don't be moved by emotional outbursts. Don't be moved by the games of manipulation that people play. Listen only to movement, and try and move people towards their goals. And if you're going to move them towards their goals, then you need to know what their goals are. Listen only to movement. I'm Andre Koen. Till next time.